Hey, Scott Simbucci here. Let's talk about 28 days that are left. 28 working days, 28 selling days left in 2020. Look, I get it. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. But here's the thing. You still have 11% of the year left to sell. And already when I'm hearing from teams and from salespeople and from sales teams saying things like everybody's waiting until next year. Nobody's buying right now. Everything's getting pushed into 2021. All right, I'm going to just work on my Q1 pipeline. Let me explain to you why that kind of thinking is really dangerous. Because not only is 11% of your time a lot of time, like there's no other point in your life, I hope, that you would give up 11% of your time. Would you give up, would you work 11% harder? Would you give up 11% of your time on the weekends with your family? Would you give up 11% of your profits? Would you give up 11% of your customers, right? There's no part of your life you would give up 11%. So don't give up 11% now. And so what I want to do here, which by the way, if you're watching this on LinkedIn Live, it'd be really helpful for me to know how many people that we're able to reach with these. If you could just give me a like or a comment, because what I'm going to do at the end of this LinkedIn Live is show you how to get some help from us, because I'm teaching a live, totally free sales masterclass in just a couple weeks. So in the meantime, if you're interested in learning more about that, you can just write the word class as a comment down below and we'll send you the details. Um, More importantly for now, what I want to do is talk to you about a model called the status quo fallacy. It's called the status quo fallacy. And it's a model actually that I rolled out and I explained to a lot of people way back in the spring when COVID and the shutdowns first hit. And this is really, really important when you think about your sales process and thinking about the amount of time you have left here in 2020. So, like, we're sitting here today and it's whatever day it is in November, mid-November, right? This is today. We know that there's a future state out there. Now the future is always uncertain, but we know for sure that in a year's time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, there's going to be a future. We're going to hit that future point in time, right? So if we draw a line back to today, this is what we call just a level trajectory. And so for a lot of teams out there and for a lot of people, and maybe this is you, or maybe this is people around you, what they're saying and what they said back in the spring is like, oh, we just want to keep our heads above water. We just kind of want to keep things status quo until we figure out what's happening with COVID, right? But what really happened though, right? If we go back to the spring, what really happened was we had this initial shock downwards with the first COVID shutdowns, right? Then we had another shock downward with the economic recession. Then we had some other shocks downwards with all of the craziness that was the election cycle. Now we're in another shock downward, another push downward from when we think we're keeping our head above water, right, with another shutdown, right? So what ends up happening is people who think that they're keeping their head above water, people that think that they're keeping things status quo, what's actually happening is they're just falling lower and lower and lower below the line. So what ends up happening is whenever there is a recovery, whenever things do pick up, you're going to be so far below what was the previous status quo that you've got to make a big jump just to get back to where you were all the way back here today, right? So what you've got to do is instead is look at what's in your locus of control. What are the things that you can do? How do you, instead of trying to keep your head above water, how do you step up? And how do you do the things every day from a selling standpoint, from a go-to-market standpoint, with your customers, with your prospects? How do you stay above the line? How do you do more than everyone else? How do you stay above this line so that with the prospecting you're doing every day, with the additional phone calls you have to do, with the LinkedIn connections you can be sending out, how do you stay above the line so that when eventually things do pick up, you'll be in a position to uptick? You'll be in a position to really take advantage of that. So the reason I call this the status quo fallacy is because it's like hashtag 2020, it's been one of the toughest years for a lot of people that there have been. But a lot of people back in the spring said, I want to kind of keep my head above water. I want to keep things status quo, thinking that the shutdown was going to be a couple months. And now we are, what, 8 months into this thing with another shutdown coming in a lot of different states with more economic hardships. So you can choose, right? You can choose to let these external factors push you down, these external shocks affect your system, or you can choose to take action. And that's why today, when you're looking at these 28 days that are left in the selling year, you got 11% of the year left. Don't give up. Now's the time where you need to really look at what you're doing. So let me just give you a couple of examples of things you could be doing that will allow you to take action, that will allow you to avoid this status quo fallacy, right? So let's just list out some things you could do. Grab a paper, grab a pencil. And by the way, I mentioned the sales masterclass I'm going to be teaching. This is exactly the kind of work that we're going to be doing together in this masterclass. So if you want to get the details about the class that we're going to be teaching in a couple of weeks, just write the word class in the comments and I'll share the details with you. Right? So I'm just going to make a list. If I was just going to sit down and say to myself, okay, what are 10 things that I could be doing that I'm probably not doing right now when it comes to sales, when it comes to reaching out to prospects? What are 10 things I could be doing? Like number one, I could be doing LinkedIn connection requests. I could do 20 of those a day, right? And that doesn't mean like click 20 people and send, an invite. It means researching them, putting in a personal note, explaining to them why you wanted to reach out to them. And those connections could be prospects you're already speaking to that you just hadn't connected to in the past. It could be people that are on the marketing list that you work with your marketing team and you discover who's on that marketing list, and maybe you just do that reach out on LinkedIn because they haven't replied to your emails. That's one thing you could do. That's the second thing you could do. Well, you could go back to those people who went dark, or people that ghosted you. Maybe people ghosted you in the spring. Maybe people ghosted you in the summer, right? We're coming up to the end of the year. The world is changing really quickly. What if you just went back to all of those deals you thought were dead or thought you put as closed lost? Maybe they weren't closed lost. Maybe they were not right now. It's a big difference between closed lost and not right now, right? So go back to those people. And I'm not saying like just send an email. I'm talking about pick up the phone, give them a call, give them a reason to interact with you and engage with you. Invite them to a webinar, send them something valuable, a white paper, an ebook, send them an article that you found that you think might be interesting to them. Like, this isn't just batch and blast and hope that one of those or two of those people get back to you. This is being thoughtful. This is being meticulous. This is being value-added seller, right? So go back to those dark and ghosted people. Now let's talk about those closed lost, right? Maybe you did lose some deals. We all lose deals. But does every implementation go really well? We had a client this year that lost a $250,000 deal. Heartbreaking to lose a $250,000 deal. But they followed up with the buyer a month later and found out that the vendor they chose wasn't working out. So guess what? Guess who got the business? They did. So go back to your closed loss. Check in with those people. Hey, how's it going? I know we didn't get a chance to work together, but just thought I'd see if, number one, is everything going as planned? Because if not, just want to let you know we're here. Number two, is there some other opportunity? Is there some other way we might be able to work together? So go to your closed loss, right? Number four, go to your customers. Hey man, just pick up the phone, talk to your customers. Say, listen, just checking in for the end of the year. What else do you need from us? Do you need any new logins? Maybe there's an upsell opportunity. Do you need any training? Do you have any new people that aren't using the platform the way that you want them to use the platform? Is there anything I can do for you, first of all, and look for those upsells? But secondly, oh, by the way, can you think of one or two other people and get a referral from those current customers, right? What's another thing you do? Talk to your partners. Go find other companies that are selling to your customers. Pick up the phone. Call their business development people. Call their corporate development people. Call their marketing people. Call their product people. Say, listen, I noticed that we're oftentimes, whenever I'm talking to our target customers, a lot of times they're using your platform. Seems like they're complementary. I'm wondering if there's a way for us to swap a couple of leads with each other. Pick up the phone, create some partnerships, right? What about blog every day? Blog or post every day. You have this wonderful gift of LinkedIn where you can just publish content anytime you want. Publish a post, publish an article, reference an article, right? Spend time like truly commenting, like interact with posts. You don't even have to publish. Some of the best leads that we get and some of the best leads that our clients get are simply because of looking at who's liking and who's commenting on other people's posts. Because if you see a post that's in your industry and somebody is liking and commenting that post, it could mean that number one, that person's engaged. They're on social media, they're on LinkedIn. Number two, maybe they have a problem that you solve. And number three, you know exactly how to get a hold of them. They're on LinkedIn. Shoot them a LinkedIn note. Hey, saw you commented, saw you liked on that post. Was reading more about your company. Wanted to make sure we got in touch, right? Easy. These are easy things that you could be doing, right? Number 8, what about running your own webinar, right? And if you're sitting there as a salesperson, you're saying like, oh, I can't run a webinar. That's something our marketing team does. If you're a founder or you're a CEO of a company and you think, oh, webinars are something that marketing teams do or big companies do. Is it really? What if you just said, hey, this is a 10-seat webinar, and you just email your list. Say, listen, I'm running a webinar, or call it an executive briefing. Call it a conference call. You don't even have to get on Zoom. Say, look, here's the dial-in. Here's what we're going to do. For 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you 3 specific observations of everything that we're seeing in the marketplace right now. We're keeping this really small. There's 10 people that are going to be allowed to join. I'm one of them. We have 9 seats left. If you want to join, let me know, and I'll send you the Conference Bridge information. Right? A way for you to interact, add value. Right? This is an easy thing to do. Right? Number 9, what's something else you could do right now that you haven't done before? How about you just pick up the phone? Just pick up the phone. You've been emailing your list for how long? Maybe it's batch and blast. Maybe you're following up with people. Maybe it's a proposal that you're chasing after. If they're not responding to email, just pick up the phone, right? Send them a text if you can. These are easy things to do. It's just another touch point that you can do. Number 10, and this is one that's real for some people. They might go like, oh, it's already pretty tough. Like I created my own club this week. I have a club of 1. And you know what that club is called? It's called the 4 a.m. Club. It's the 4 a.m. Club. Starting last Thursday, I decided between now and Thanksgiving, I had 10 days left that I could work. I could focus. And from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. is when I have the most quiet time in the house. So you know what I decided to do? The alarm goes off at 4 a.m. And I get up and I do my work. It's the 4 a.m. Club, and it's a club of 1. And I'm the only one in it as far as I know. But find that time. Make that time, right? I know it's hard. I have a kid, like right now I can hear my son calling my wife because he's having a hard time getting onto his class. I can hear that. You can't hear it, but I can hear it. This is happening live, right? I've got that. My wife is working 2 jobs. She's a research economist and she's a consultant, right? I've got that issue too. I'm running my own company. We have our own clients. We have our own team. Like we all have the struggles, right? And I'm the first person to say, take care of yourself first. Don't short yourself on sleep. Every once in a while, do a sprint. I'm not saying get up at 4 a.m. and only get 5 hours of sleep for the rest of your life, but maybe you can put together a 1-week sprint and buy yourself 5 extra hours. Get up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Get up 1 hour early and buy those extra hours so you can do any of these other 9 activities. So you can tell I feel really passionately about this. Like this is one of the opportunities that you have right now. Like I'm seeing an opportunity for every single company out there. Like if you look at the global economy, do you know what the global economy is? The last time I just checked some economics websites, a number I saw was 142 trillion. That's the global GDP. 142 trillion. So if you're sitting there and you're like, look, I just want to get 1 more contract this year. I want to get 3 more new customers. I want to go find another $100,000 in revenue. And you're sitting there thinking in absolutes and saying like, nobody's buying. Everything's getting pushed. Everybody's telling me to wait till next year. You're telling me that in a $142 trillion global economy, you can't go find 1 more customer? I think you can. I know that you can. So go make that happen. Don't be one of those people that falls under the status quo fallacy. Because if you just wait, like who knew that we're going to have this other shutdown? Who knew the way things were going to work out with the election? Who knew there was going to be such an economic shutdown after the first round of COVID, right? If you're just sitting around waiting for external factors to get better, we're just waiting for things to turn around, things aren't going to turn around. Maybe they will, but the successful people are people who stay above the line no matter what. Be one of these people. Stay above the line. It's easy to be successful. It's easy to sell stuff when everything is screaming upwards. It's easy to sell stuff when the global economy is on fire. It's easy to sell stuff when budgets are wide open and anybody in the organization can make a decision. But when it gets tough, when you have to sell to the CFO every time, when you have to come up with a real value proposition, when you have to get creative on how you're going to get time and focus from your prospects, that's what separates people that are going to make it above the line and stay above the line no matter what. I think you can do this. You can be one of those people. So don't fall victim to the status quo fallacy. You don't even have to do all 10 of these things. If you just did 3 of these things this week, then I know that you would see a difference. If you just did 20 new connection requests, if you just contacted people that went dark or ghosted you, went back to your closed lost people, you just did those 3 things, you will be generating activity. And not only are you generating activity, but you're changing your mindset. And if you ask any salesperson that's been successful over the long run, the one thing they will tell you that makes the biggest difference is your enthusiasm. If you think that you can sell your stuff, if you're out there selling with a positive mindset, if you want to go out and affect your customers, if you want to help them make the change that they need to make, like, it's your job, it's your duty to go out there and talk to them about your product. It's your job to talk to them about their problem. It's your job to show them how you can help them. So go do that. So that's my message for today. You got 28 days left, 27 and a half, depending on what time you see this video. You got 11% of the year, not counting weekends, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, right? You can still do this. You can still make something of the year. You've got 11% of the year left to make a bounce going into 2021. You can finish the year strong. And if you've been struggling all year, join the club. A lot of people have, and that's okay. But the past is the past. The past does not determine your future. Take some action, do some things. Don't get subject to the status quo fallacy. So that's my message today. Now, as I said a couple times, we're running a sales masterclass. And in that sales masterclass, what we're going to do is we're going to basically 3 key outcomes for you. So number 1, we're going to help you identify the key sales accelerators, the 9 sales accelerators. These are the 9 core systems that every startup needs to build and implement in order to get predictable, repeatable, scalable growth. That's objective number 1. Objective number 2, we're going to get tactical. We're going to look at your outbound sequence. We're going to look at how you're running your product demos. We're going to talk about your pricing strategy. We're going to make sure that you get tactical tips, tactical frameworks that you can implement right away into your business to help you start moving forward with your sales. And the third thing we're going to do is talk about your hiring plan, specifically around your sales team. Because once you have the systems in place and once you know what to do, then the next piece of your growth is going to be around how do we hire the right sales team to then implement and carry these systems forward for us. Those are the 3 key objectives for the Sales Masterclass. So if you want to join us, if you want to join me and a small group of startup CEOs, just write the word class. Type the word class in the comments down below. We'll send you all the details. There's a LinkedIn event for this, but then we're going to send you a registration place. It's totally free. The only thing that I ask is your 100% commitment that you're going to show up and stay the entire time. Really, really simple. And frankly, if you want to get the growth that maybe you didn't get this year, you're going to want to stay for the entire time. So that's it. That's my message for today. Go make this happen. I'm doing my 20. I've got my 4 a.m. club. I'm going back to people that went dark and ghosted us. We're asking for referrals. This is the way you're going to generate business. You got 11% of the year, 28 days. Go make it happen. Go make it happen. Let's do this. All right. See ya.